Hey, Shalom, first and foremost, and we give all praise and glory, honor to Yahweh, Bashim Yashai, Bashim Makakadash, the honors to the apostles, the elders, a great millstone never will. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out here pushing the truth and sincerity. Hey, the water for which I do, we love you. We appreciate you to the spirit, Yahweh, Bashim Yashai, Shalom to y'all. It's your brother, Dawud Dodd, all right, out of the great millstone camp here in Atlanta. Hey, well, you know what? Without further ado, you know what? Let me just jump straight into it. Yeah, this is the overview of Revelations chapter 9. All right, and just jump straight into it. All right. So it says Revelation 9:1. It says, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit." So that bottomless pit is talking about Europe. All right, that star falling out of heaven, fall from heaven, unto the earth, and it was given into him was given the key of the bottomless pit. That's Esau coming out of Europe. All right, the bottomless pit is Europe. Because what happened was it was a thousand year time period where pretty much they weren't really making pretty much making headlines, man. They wasn't out there really, doing anything extravagant. They were really desolate, taken out of an empire, taken out of a power, out of rulership, during the time of Rome, and for 1,000 years, which they call the dark ages. That was the time for the so-called black man to shine for 1,000 years, that we pretty much ruled. And we ruled Europe, and then they came out of that, and they had the Renaissance period, and Renaissance means rebirth, and they pretty much rebirthed everything. Let me get Malachi 1:4. It's Malachi 1:4, and it says, "Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever." Because in Obadiah, when you read Obadiah, right, it said that they will be put into slavery and they will be destroyed afterwards, right? So that's indignation that the Most High has towards them for forever. Indignation being his righteous anger, right? They're the border of wickedness, right? The third part of man, which is the sons of the wicked, because you got the sons of the Most High, you got the sons of man, you got the sons of the wicked. And that's who they are, the border of wickedness. Because after Alexander the Greek, who you call Alexander the Great, after he passed away, he left he pretty much gave power to his four general. Pretty much, they pretty much had power after he passed away, and his four generals, they pretty much what happened was the evilness began to spread out throughout the earth. Let me see if I can pretty much get that. Because, there was evil people out there. There were wicked people out there. But wickedness began to increase in the earth because of them. Right? This is First Maccabees. Let me see. Yeah, this is First Maccabees 1:9. It says, "And after his death," talking about Alexander the Greek, it says, "they all put crowns upon themselves." See, so he pretty much left power to them by him just dying. Because when you read up, his four generals, by the way, were Ptolemy, Lysimachus, Cassander, and Seleucid. Right? When they took rulership. Right, I'm just read it. It says, "And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth." So after they took rulership, the things that the evil that they spread, their sons did after them, and so on and so forth until today. Because Esau, which is the so-called white man, are direct descendants of these people, right? Direct descendants from these people. It says, "and their sons after them." So anything that they believed in, their sons carried with them. And then their sons obviously, of course, had children, and whatever they were taught and whatever their beliefs was, also, you know, went with their kin, right, with their seeds. So when their children were born, they carried the same ideologies and belief systems that their forefathers had believed in. And what did their forefathers believe in? Well, wickedness, right? They're the sons of the wicked. So son after wicked, son after the wicked, son after the wicked, son after the wicked. They keep having more wicked children, right? And that's what you have today. Now you have a direct correlation between who the so-called white people are today that are Esau, Edom, and who these men were. They were wicked, so are their children wicked. Go back into Malachi 1 and 4. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. So they're taken out of rulership, and for 1,000 years, they pretty much weren't heard of, pretty much, and then now all of a sudden they've come back to rebuild, and have come out of the bottomless pit from Europe, right? And the reason why it's called the bottomless pit, because there's nothing that comes out of there. There's it doesn't grow any fruits, no vegetation. It doesn't really produce anything. So it's the bottomless pit for that reason, right? Let me see that word pit, if I can get pit. Let me see. So Revelations 9, verse 1. Let's see if I can get that word pit.
Strong's G 5421. Freyar.
Yeah, see, the pit of the abyss. That word abyss there, when you look at that word abyss, you start to get a deep understanding of the reason of the word pit, right? Because the abyss is dark, right? There's nothing that comes from it, right? Except for evilness. And what is the bottomless pit? Well, it's Europe, which is who? Esau. It's the bottomless pit, right? Well, Europe is Europe, but Europe, who rules Europe now? Esau, right? And so, and Europe is the bottomless pit. Let me also get Revelations chapter 20, verse 1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid a hold on that dragon, that old serpent, right? Speaking of the serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So he was bound for 1,000 years. During the Dark Ages, that was when pretty much the so-called black man was rulership, and that was the Dark Ages, right? So after that 1,000 years, what happened? Well, here's the bottomless pit coming out, into rulership, and which is Esau now, coming over from out of Europe into the Americas, and pretty much controlling the world. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Well, who are the sons of the wicked? Well, it's okay, so that's Esau. Who's in rulership now? So-called white man. Who was the so-called white man? So-called white man is Esau. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. And you can tell, and you can see that they are deceiving the nations now. It says that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. That little season is now, right? So after 1,000 years during the Dark Ages, now they're here now, like we just brought out in Malachi 1 and 4. They have returned and built the desolate places, and you see how it says deceive the nations no more. Well, now they're back deceiving the nations, because the word devil means deceiver, right? Showing you that old serpent was Esau. Well, that old serpent was a spirit of Esau, So going back into Revelations chapter 9 and verse 2 now, it says, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit, which this is talking about World War I. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. And those are talking about the aircraft that they used to use during that time of World War I. Those locusts, they look like the fighter planes that they used, right? And that's how they look. This is what John the Revelator saw. He saw these planes, but he called them locusts because that's how they look to him. He don't know to call it an airplane during that time. It says, and unto them was given power as the scorpions have of the earth have power. And on the back of those planes there's a second space for a gunner, and that's where the tails of the plane had weapons, which a scorpion's weapon would be on his tail. So were those planes. It looked like locusts, but they hurt like scorpions. It says, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Heavenly Father in their foreheads. Right. So, of course, they don't hurt no grass, nothing, because it was trench warfare back in those days. So no grass, no trees. It was just kill all the flesh, shoot at flesh, just hurt those men. Right. That trench warfare. And and there were men who actually had the seal, right, in order for men that are the elect to be pushed out of those seeds, right? So that's why it says, but only those men which not have the seal in their foreheads. So pretty much, the forefathers of the elect, because they will have to, of course, live so that they get, have babies, and those babies be, men of the 144,000. Verse 5, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion, which when he striketh the man. And, that venom will really hurt you. And, it says it should not kill them, right? But they should be tormented. So they really, and it said 5 months, because 5 months was during the time of the war, World War I. It was 1914 to 1920, roughly. Or 1919. So 1914 to 1919, about 5 years. That's what the 5 months is. And it says, in those days shall men seek death. See, going back up there where it says should not kill them, right? But pretty much hurt them. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it. And when you read up on the history of World War I, you start to see how, graphic it was, and, pretty much 40 million lives or 50 million lives were affected, right? More than that, but physically, over 20 million killed and about 20 million wounded, right? And those men were pretty much tormented, and they wanted to die, man. The amputation was ridiculous during that time. It was like people getting limbs cut off, and a man doesn't want to live if he doesn't have a limb, if he's missing a limb. So they were tormented. And shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Yeah, man. So it says in verse 7, and the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as if it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. So he's seeing the planes with the pilots, gold, and they had these German soldiers. They had gold plated gold in their helmets. That's what the crowns of gold, like gold, is talking about. Their helmets. And, they actually had gold, silver, bronze helmets, and John saw the gold ones, right? And it says, and they had hair as the hair of women, and there was like these long like hairs coming out of these helmets. These German soldiers. That's what he's seeing. It says, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions, and they had the teeth of lions. That's the ammunition, the bullets coming from the planes. Remember, these planes are what John is seeing. He's seeing the World War I break through. That's why when he said do not hurt any grass, he saw that heavy trench warfare in those fighter planes shooting down into those trenches. So and they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron. Yeah, the material of the metal planes, right, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running the battle. So you can actually hear. He heard the way that the planes actually sound coming, going to war, right? And remember, he's saying the wings sounded like, so you had the propellers, the muffler system. They ain't having muffler system, right? So they were very, very loud, right? and they had tails like unto scorpions, those gunners, and there were stings in their tails, when they kill, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. So yeah, so for 5 years during the war, they were destroying shit with these planes, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. Yeah, this was because during that time, the emperor and rulership was Kaiser Wilhelm II, right? Kaiser meaning Caesar, and he was direct descendant of so-called royal family during that time, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. So he ruled Europe, right? Whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, which means it says, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon, which means destroyer. So, and boy, did he destroy it, right? It says, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So it's talking about World War I, and it says 2 and 3 are going to come after. 2 is already gone, and what do you see coming up now? World War III, right? These scriptures are undefeated, man. This is Matthew 24, verse 6. This is one of the things that the Most High, Yahushua, said to look out for before he makes his return, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He is Yahushua. Before he makes his return, he says signs to look out for before I come back. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Matthew 24:7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Let me see, actually, Salakia, verse 5. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And that's what I want to get, because it said, Revelation 9, it said, 2 more come thereafter. See? Because woe means death and destruction, right? So we got World War I, 2, and 3, right? Well, 1 and 2 already happened. So, 2 came quickly after, right? About a decade and some change later after World War I. And, well, shit, 2 more come here quickly or hereafter. Because we know, the other verse, was it 14 and 8? Is it? Could be going off. Yeah, I'm going off. Let me see. Oh, 14, not 8. I'm tripping. Yeah, it says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third will come quickly. So there you go. 2 came after 1. And then it came after quickly, but the third war is coming after World War II quickly. You actually see it right now. Those wars and rumors of wars that we just read about in Matthew 24. So now let's go back in chapter 9, and verse 13 says, and the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the Heavenly Father. And horns is a repetition of power, right? It says, saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates, right? Which the 4 angels are, the archangel, right? You got Michael, you got Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, right? They sit on the right hand of Yahushua. And it says, which were prepared for, well, your river and Euphrates, by the way, this is Yahweh Shabbat talking about the Lord's judgment, right? Over there in the Levant region, right? So Syria, that area right there, underneath Turkey and all that area, that whole little area over there. That's where Yahushua, that's where Yahushua is going to come back, man. Right there in to fight those armies that are over there fighting. Right, it says and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay Salakia, to slay the third part of men, which we already discussed what the third part of men was. Right, it's Esau, which is the sons of the wicked. Right, and it says the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. He's talking about those nuclear missiles, right? 200 million missiles are going to hit America, which is Babylon the Great, for all the wickedness that they've done, or the wine that they haven't let the other nations drink. Like it talks about the nations that deceive the nations no more. Well, America has deceived pretty much the whole damn planet, man. Right, and for that, everybody's going to send missiles over here. It says, and thus I saw the horses in a vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. And we know horses and lions don't breathe fire, right? So it's talking about those missiles, man. Right? It says, by these three was the third part of men killed by the fire, and as by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. So those missiles are going to hit here, and the third part of man is going to be destroyed, man. Some will be captured and put into slavery, but a lot of them will be destroyed by those nuclear missiles. And along with 2/3 of our people and a lot of wicked people of the other nations as well. It said, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. See, those nuclear missiles, those ICBMs, man, intercontinental ballistic missiles. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor talk. And yeah, that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to run to those damn religions of theirs, and they're not going to be able to give them answers or help them. It says, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts, because Esau can't repent anyways. But they're not, they're not going to make no account for anything. They're just going to, suffer, man. Right? They can't repent. So what they're going to do is just get these lashes, man. That's it. And that's the overview. Lord willing, you will LFI. With that, I want to give all praise and glory and honor to Yah, Bashim Yahshai, Bashim Rakakadosh, double honors to our apostles, our elders, the great millstone, ever well. Peace and salutation to hopeful elect out here pushing his truth and sincerity, to what of which I do we love you. We appreciate you, to the spirit of Yah, Bashim Yahshai, and shalom to y'all.